Hello there! We're about to tackle a topic that can literally make or break your property renovation budget. VAT on residential refurbishments here in the UK. Getting this right can save you an absolutely phenomenal amount of money, so let's get straight into it.
Now, to guide us through all the tricky bits, we're using this fantastic analysis that's been put together by the tax experts over at ProTax Accountant. They've really laid out all the rules, the exceptions, and the key strategies that you absolutely need to know.
So, I'm guessing you're here because you're thinking about a renovation. Maybe it's a new kitchen, a loft conversion, or perhaps you're planning on bringing a tired old property back to life. If that sounds like you, you're in the right place, because understanding VAT is really the key to unlocking some major savings.
Okay, let's start with the bit that makes everyone's jaw drop. Imagine your dream refurbishment costs £80,000. You've budgeted for every single tile, every tap, every last detail. But did you budget for this? An extra £16,000 in VAT. Just like that, your project cost jumps to nearly 100 grand. It's a pretty shocking figure, and honestly, it catches so many people out.
But here's the crucial part, and why you need to listen really closely. You might not have to pay that full 20%. Yep, you heard that right. There are perfectly legal, HMRC approved ways to slash that bill. Stay with me. The next few points might just surprise you.
So, here's our game plan for today. First, we'll face that 20% shock head-on. Then, we'll uncover two huge savings opportunities, the 5% empty home rule and the incredible zero VAT conversion. And to finish up, we'll look at how to avoid the common pitfalls and give you a simple checklist to take away. Sound good?
Right, let's kick things off with the default position, the one that catches most people out, the 20% VAT shock.
So the standard rate of VAT on most building work here in the UK is a flat 20%. This applies to pretty much everything: repairs, maintenance, improvements, extensions, on a property that's currently being lived in. It's the number your contractor will automatically apply unless you can prove your project qualifies for something better.
And this is why it matters so much. Overlooking that isn't just a minor bump in the road. It's like a 20% roadblock for your entire budget. Honestly, planning for it from day one is absolutely essential to keep your project from going off the rails.
Okay, now for the good news. Let's move on to our first big savings opportunity, the 5% empty home rule. Believe me, this is a total game changer for a lot of renovators.
The magic question you need to ask is this: has the property you're renovating been empty for 2 years or more right before your work starts? If the answer is yes, then bingo. The VAT rate on a lot of the services and building materials plummets from 20% all the way down to just 5%. This whole rule is designed to encourage people to bring long-term empty homes back into use.
Let's look at what this actually means in real money. Let's take Fiona in Leeds. She bought a house that had been sitting vacant for 3 years. Her refurbishment bill came to £50,000. Now, at the standard rate, her VAT would have been a painful 10 grand. But because her property qualified under that 2-year rule, she only paid 5% VAT. That's just £2,500. That's a massive saving of £7,500, right there.
Now, you can't just tell your builder the house was empty. You've got to prove it. So here's a pro tip. Start gathering your evidence as early as you can. Get a letter from the council's empty property officer. Dig out old utility bills that show zero usage. Check the council tax records. This paperwork isn't just nice to have. It is your non-negotiable proof to lock in that 5% rate.
Okay, a 5% rate is pretty great, but what if you could pay zero VAT? Yes, zero. That brings us to our next huge opportunity, the zero VAT conversion.
The key thing here is to understand exactly when this zero rate applies. It's not for every project, of course. It's reserved for very specific types of work. But if you do qualify, it is a massive financial relief. So the big question is, could your project be one of them?
You can get a 0% VAT rate if you're converting a building that wasn't originally designed as a home into one. So think about turning an old barn, a disused office block, or maybe a former shop into residential flats. The absolute crucial condition from HMRC is that the building must not have been used as a dwelling at any point in the 10 years before you start your work.
To really bring this to life, let's talk about Alastair, a developer down in Bristol. He took on a £150,000 project to convert an old warehouse into apartments. Because it was a purely commercial building, his contractor could apply the 0% VAT rate. And that one decision saved him a staggering £30,000. That's the kind of saving that completely transforms a project's bottom line.
And hey, here's a quick did you know for you. There's another way to hit that lovely 0% rate. Right now, if you install certain energy-saving materials, things like solar panels, insulation, or heat pumps, in a residential property, the supply and the installation are both 0 rated for VAT.
But, and this is a big but, this is a temporary relief. This 0 rate on energy-saving materials is only available until the 31st of March 2027. After that date, the rate jumps back up to 5%. So if you're even thinking about any green upgrades, you need to circle that date on your calendar. Acting before March 2027 is the key.
Okay, now that you know about the amazing savings, let's talk about the pitfalls. Knowing the common mistakes is just as important, and it can save you thousands in the long run. Don't get caught out.
This is probably the #1 mistake people make. They assume their contractor knows all these specific VAT rules. The reality is, many will just apply the standard 20% across the board unless you tell them otherwise. It is your responsibility to know if your project is eligible and to provide them with the proof.
So here's another pro tip for you. Have the VAT conversation right at the very start. Take Tariq in London. His contractor quoted 20% for work on a house that had been empty for 3 years. Tariq was proactive. He provided his council tax records, he sent a link to the official HMRC guidance, and he got the quote amended to 5% VAT in writing. That simple action saved him over £10,000. Always get it confirmed on the quote and the final invoice.
Okay, the second major pitfall is with mixed-use properties. Say, a shop with flats above it. This can get a bit tricky. You might be converting the shop into a new flat, which could be 0% rated. But at the same time, you're also refurbishing the existing flats, which would be at the standard 20% rate. You absolutely cannot apply one single rate to the whole job. Your contractor has to apportion the costs fairly and give you separate, detailed invoices. This is completely non-negotiable as far as HMRC is concerned.
And that brings us to a really crucial point. HMRC can, and they absolutely do, audit these kinds of claims. So your best line of defense is meticulous planning and just flawless record keeping. If you claim a reduced or a 0 rate, you need to be 100% ready to justify it.
So, what should you keep? The short answer is everything. Your invoices must clearly state the VAT rate that was applied. Keep all your proof of vacancy, your planning permission documents, and if you're doing a DIY project and reclaiming VAT, you must keep a copy of your Form 431C. My advice, get a folder and organize these documents from day one.
Phew, we have covered a lot of ground. So, to pull it all together nice and neat, here is your final VAT savings checklist.
Let's just quickly run through it. First, verify the property status to see if you qualify for the 5% or 0% rate. Second, gather all your evidence before any work begins. Third, get that VAT rate confirmed in writing from your contractor. Fourth, for those tricky mixed-use projects, insist on separate invoices. Fifth, remember that March 2027 deadline for any green upgrades. And finally, stay organized. Keep every single piece of paper. Following these steps will put you in the strongest possible position.
Okay, before we wrap up, it's really important for me to say that the information in this analysis is for general guidance only. Tax rules are complex, they can change, so you really shouldn't rely on this exclusively to make your financial decisions.
Before making any final decisions, you absolutely must consult a professional for advice that is tailored to your specific project and circumstances. And for that, we highly recommend getting in touch with the tax experts at Pro Tax Accountant, who put this brilliant guide together. You can contact them for bespoke advice on your property refurbishment or really any other tax issues you might have. You can reach them on WhatsApp or by phone at 079856899112, or you can drop them an email at info@protaxaccountant.co.uk. Thanks so much for your time.